Mm. Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play. Peter Moylan? Oh, no. Oh, that's a good sign for my fifth-ranked team. By you, the people in this team profile and projections, the Atlanta Braves, they were ranked numero uno last year. This year, they are in the fifth spot, and their DirecTV Rewind will tell you why. If you're ready to transform your baseball watching experience, head to directv.com/JohnBoy or scan the QR code on the screen to learn more. They finished 89-73. That was second in the NL East. They got bounced by the San Diego Padres in 2 games in the wild card. They were solid at home. They were solid on the road. They were good against the good teams. They were bad in one-run games. The offense was limited a little bit last year. They were first in runs allowed per game. You wouldn't think of the Atlanta Braves when that. You would think of last year with a lot of injuries and on both sides of the ball. So I guess, Coach Trev, this year, who did the Braves bring in?
They brought in some notable players, and I'm happy that Jerkson Profar comes in here. 3 years, $42 million for my guy Prof. Career year last year in San Diego. He'll be in the outfield there, holding it down, and something they've been looking for actually for quite some time. They also signed outfielder Brian De La Cruz for 1 year, $860. He was in Miami and Pittsburgh last year. This is an interesting one. They brought over Nick Allen in a trade with the A's. Will he eventually move into the starting shortstop role? That's a storyline to watch. They also traded for Davis Daniel, a pitcher from the Los Angeles Angels. They acquired him for prospect Mitch Ferris. A bunch of minor league deals: Buck Farmer, Hector Neris, Garrett Cooper, my guy Kurt Casale, Jake Diekman, even Jake Marisnick on a minor league deal. They also extended Reynaldo Lopez, gave him 3 for $30. He had a phenomenal year last year, 135 and 2/3 innings pitched to a 1.99. They re-signed Aaron Bummer to a 2-year, $13. He had 2 club options for the next 2 years. Instead, the Braves wiped those out for this deal, and they also exercised their club option on Marcell Ozuna, who had a 154 OPS plus last year. So they brought in some guys. They re-signed some guys. Jake, they also lost some notable names. Who are they?
Man, they really did. A few guys that have been big parts of their postseason runs, their regular season runs. 2 guys from the rotation that jump out. Max Fried decided to join the New York Yankees. I guess that's fine. 200+ mil will help do that. Charlie Morton also jumped to the AL East. He's with Baltimore. So those 2 have been mainstays for a little while now. They're gone. AJ Minter out of that bullpen. He gone. Travis d'Arnaud, kind of doing the best backup catcher in baseball, who is playing a lot. He's with the Halos now. Gio the God Urshela's out of town. John Brebbia, Luke Jackson in that bullpen. They're gone. Laureano, Jorge Soler. Remember that trade that happened right after the season? Tyler Matzek, Jesse Chavez. He's gone for now. We know he'll find his way back. But Oscar Unoa on your Twins right now, Coach. And Adam Duvall, Whit Merrifield. A lot of these guys that came in just for a taste last year. Biggio. So that's kind of a lot of bodies out. I think the good news is that lineup. The rotation, all of it's there, but what's it look like from your end?
Well, they are dealing with some injuries already. So Ronald Acuna Jr., he'll be back late May. Sean Murphy cracked a rib. I believe he got hit with the fastball in spring training. So that's, 4-6, maybe even 8 weeks out, depending on how he heals up. The lineup still has a ton of guys, even with those 2 out of it. Profar playing left field, Austin Riley at third base, Matt Olson at first base, Marcell Ozuna DHing, our guy Ozzy Albies. He loves to fish and has a fish tank. Follow that on Instagram, please. It's amazing. Michael Harris II, who Lawrence Butler said got fat over the offseason. That's not true. Not true. He's still very fast and can run it down. Drake Baldwin probably taken over to be the catcher at the beginning of the year. I mentioned Orlando Arcia at shortstop. Can Nick Allen take some playing time away from him? That's to be seen. And then Jared Kelenic out there in right field on the bench. I mentioned Nick Allen, Brian De La Cruz, Chadwick Tromp also there as a catcher, and Eli White utility. Some other names to watch was Kirk Casale. Can he make the roster? I said Acuna and Murphy will be there at some point as well. So the lineup has plenty of pop. We've seen them do it for years, Jake. They also have always been able to find that starting pitching. Tell me about the rotation in the bullpen.
Chris Sale, Cy Young winner. Chris Sale will be atop the rotation. Unfortunately, ran out of steam at the wrong time last year, but he's back. Reynaldo Lopez, go check out those stats. Eerily similar to Paul Skeens. Not a joke. Like, go look at the numbers. Spencer Schwellenbach, that guy started mowing him down for a little bit last year. Grant Holmes, yep, nice hair. And Ion Anderson, a Talkin baseball legend, one of the best postseason starters ever, is back in the rotation. Spencer Strider is hoping to come back end of April, early May. They've also got Smith Shaver, Bryce Elder, Dylan Dodd, Hurston Waldrop. Had to be on the Braves with that name. In the back end, Raisel Iglesias, my dream pitch mix closer. Pierce Johnson, slinging sliders. Aaron Bummer, Dylan Lee, Neris, Hernandez, Perdomo, Enyel De Los Santos. We'll see if Joe Jimenez, when he comes back, Buck Farmer, Jake Diekman, get him on the squad, him and Sale. That's always been a dream for me, and that's when you're having weird baseball dreams. So with that, Trev, the Atlanta Braves, 5th on the list. I don't know. I guess the injury bug is already here, and maybe that's unfair for some of the teams that we do earlier before spring training as we record our team profile and projections. But yeah, I mean, some huge questions. When is Spencer Strider back? Is that end of April? Is that June 1st? Ronald Acuna Jr. could be saying the same question. The Sean Murphy injury, although Drake Baldwin, number one prospect for them, might be nice to get him a cup of coffee. I guess in my head, I'm expecting the Atlanta Braves to have a better season than last year, but I haven't brought that into the full scope of current injuries, and also the NL East has improved.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest issue last year for them, was dealing with injuries, and you're right, it kind of already has crept up on them. And to begin the season, I mean, that's kind of, we've seen teams go through this where you begin the season flat, or maybe you have some injuries like the Braves do, and it becomes, especially when you're in a division like the NL East, it becomes tough to make up these games. So I do think that depending on when these guys can come back might dictate whether this team's playing in a wild card round or whether this team reels off 98 wins and has a bye. Like they have that type of ceiling. But that's the biggest thing for them. Can we get these guys back on the field? Can we get them healthy? Because they did lose. I mean, you lose Max Fried, Charlie Morton. I think Travis d'Arnaud's huge to lose that kind of like veteran presence there. So they have to overcome some of that. Like I said, I like some of the additions that they've made, but really, if this team is healthy, they're one of the best teams in baseball. That's just what it comes down to, and they got to stay on the field. I want to see Ronald Acuna back. I want to see him be able to come back and be at 100% or even 90%, whatever it is. He's got to be on the field for them. Spencer Strider coming back will be not only a huge boost for the rotation, but I feel like just like team morale. Like he's another one of those guys that's top step in. He is, he is the Atlanta Braves. So that's what it comes down to. This team has so much talent. They're going to be competitive, obviously, but they got to stay on the field, Jake.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little excited for the Braves from the standpoint of there's a few teams we've looked at, and it's kind of like in those first couple months, you got to figure it out. Like you get out of the gate. I guess Toronto jumps to my mind. I don't know. I guess I could dig for a couple other teams. San Diego, who we just did, like a big start would be huge for them. The Atlanta Braves, I don't know. If they can tread water and then Spencer Strider joins your rotation, if they can tread water and Ronald Acuna Jr. joins your lineup, like those are Spencer Strider, when he was coming into the season healthy, he was the Cy Young favorite. It's like, dude, if this guy throws a $180, he might strike out 300. Ronald Acuna Jr. was coming off a 40-70 season that, I don't know, I guess I kind of like that angle for the Braves and what could be a long season because hey, if you get off to the hot start and you add those guys, watch out. Even if you don't, if there's a little bit of a hangover from last year where they struggled in one-run games, which, again, I say this on a lot of the TPPs, and it's just how baseball works. It fluctuates year in, year out. They were 18 and 25 in one-run games, and that's tough. That's a ball hits the wrong rock in the infield. That's the double play doesn't get turned, where if a season starts having that, I guess the more and more I start actually thinking about the Braves, I'm getting excited for them. But on the other side, they lost bodies in that Profar signing. Let's be honest. There's a reason it landed at 3 years for 42. I think that's a bargain. If any team signed that contract, we would have been happy for them. But also, why? Because if this landed with another organization, we'd be a little more skeptical, and we'd point at Profar's earlier years and be like, oh, I don't know, that 1 year breakout in his 30s, he signs with the Braves, and we're kind of like, oh, shoot, did we all screw this up? And now he looks so important to this roster.
Yeah, I mean, they've been looking for a left fielder for quite some time, so I feel like it's a nice piece to just be able to say, this is our guy, and to put him out there. We are actually getting a note. Spencer Strider starting today as we record this Monday, March 17th. He's pitching against the Red Sox. He'll continue to throw some games in spring training and then start a minor league rehab to begin the year. So if all goes well, coming back from that brace surgery, we will see him towards the end of April. And again, I think that is just absolutely massive. We've talked about Profar a lot on this show. You know, Anthopoulos called him the second best hitter in the free agent class this year. So they truly do believe in him. I don't think you don't just say stuff like that unless you actually did have that, whatever data they're running, whatever, everybody has their own data. The Braves really like him, and I think that he is going to be very important, man. But again, like there's parts out, I understand, but you got to expect Matt Olson to be a little bit better this year, so you're going to get that. Spencer Strider going to be back on the mound for you. That's huge. I think that I really am interested to see what they do at the shortstop position, because it's kind of like the only one that's like up in the air when everybody is healthy. Because Arcia has been there.
Right.
He kind of he doesn't really do anything great, right? And then you have the guy you trade for, Nick Allen, who's like an elite defender. Do you plug him and say, we have enough bats, let's go make sure that we're catching the ball in the middle of the field? I'm very curious to see if that happens for the Braves at some point this year, because we've seen teams do that, man. You'll give away some offense, make it up with other guys, and we have that elite defense. I think it might be the smart play for them.
It gets tricky because when you punt a position offensively, it just leaves so much more room for error in the fact that, okay, Ozzie Albies got banged up last year. It was 99 games. He had a 95 OPS plus. That's not who Ozzie Albies is, but stuff like that happens in a baseball season, that now your two positions up the middle are getting banged up. And we just talked about Sean Murphy's hurt, and there's going to be other stuff that it's funny. Matt Olson and Austin Riley, their years are slightly disappointing for them. I think that's fair to say. It was a 118 OPS plus for Olson, 115 for Austin Riley, that compared to their other seasons, that's not up to par. And it's funny because the transactions on this team are the pitching, but in 2023, they were the best offense in baseball. Last year, they finished middle of the pack. That I hope Profar is huge for them. If he does what he did last year, oh my God. But they are really looking in-house just for guys to get back to their expectations. And I think that's fair because these are guys...
They've done it.
They've had those expectations for a reason. And, dude, there's some weird stats here. 3.9 runs per game at home was the lowest in the National League. What the hell is that? Where, meanwhile, they had 126 home runs on the road, which was the most in Major League Baseball. So there's just...
Oh, no.
There's just some oddities. Like, people might not like this analysis, but I think it's why I'm here, Trev. The baseball gods just got them last year.
I think so.
Between injuries and, what do you do with that stat? We were the best homer team on the road, but the least run-scoring team at home? The Atlanta... that's nothing. That's
odd
nothing.
Season. Still made the playoffs, by the way.
Still had 89 wins.
Yeah.
And they
So
tapped
that
in,
goes to look. I think there is going to be a bounce back offensive year for a lot of the guys in that lineup. I'm curious about maybe the opposite in their rotation, because how can you get better than Chris Sale winning the Triple Crown, Ronaldo Lopez pitching to a 1.9, a rookie in Spencer Schwellenbach throwing the way that he threw, Grant Holmes at the end of the year looked really, really good for them. Like, and then you're getting, it's I don't know. Like, am I supposed to be looking for some regression to the mean from those guys, or is this just what they have? They have an elite pitching staff. My mind wants me to go, hey, yeah, they're going to take a step back, but again, kind of like their hitters, like these guys kind of now have a track record. Obviously, Chris Sale is Chris Sale. Lopez has looked good for years now, and then Schwellenbach has like the rates to back up what he's doing. So like maybe they are just the real deal, and maybe too many times we're looking at, who hates that word, regression? Who? Christian Yelich. He said, never use it around me. He hates it because it's like, just go play the game. These guys are good players. Why do they have to take a step back? I don't know, man. It's an interesting thing with me with the Braves, because I do feel like when healthy, we're talking one of the elite teams in baseball.
Yeah, when we mention the pitching factory teams around baseball, the Braves don't come up, and maybe they should. I mean, the whole Chris Sale conversation, we've done episodes on that. They extended him before he started pitching, which we were skeptical of. Trev, I'm laughing because we just talked about this on a previous episode. Chris Sale, backdoor sliders.
Oh God! Don't bring that up to me.
You said that's how he started every at bat to you. Chris Sale and Reynaldo Lopez and Max Fried. Max Fried, for whatever reason, was 29 starts to a 3.25, and it felt like not a down year, but if you take out his first two starts, Max Fried was Max Fried last year. But Reynaldo Lopez was a reliever that they transitioned to a starter, and he had a 1.99 ERA in 135 innings. Chris Sale, I don't want to say we wrote off. We knew he's still Chris Sale, but the injury history, and we thought he was coming in to be the Phillies, like, come get Harper and Schwarber. Like, no, he went in and he won the Cy Young. They called up Schwellenbach, who was great in his rookie year, that maybe they deserve the credit as a pitching factory a little more. Because even when you go in the bullpen, like, when you're talking lights-out relievers, how often do you bring up Dylan Lee? He had 52 games and a 2.11 ERA. Maybe this organization, in a way, is a little bit of my dream, where it's, hey, their offensive guys are set it and forget it. Could Michael Harris be the best center fielder in baseball this year? Yeah. Austin Riley at the hot corner and what he does year in, year out. It feels like they set a lot of the lineup, and the pitching, they've been piecemealing a little bit more, but they've been good at that.
I was looking at Ronaldo Lopez, and a lot of times we're like, okay, transition from a reliever to a starter. What do they do to his arsenal? Like, he's kind of thrown the same thing like his entire career, like a four-seamer and a slider. He started to throw the curveball a little bit more to get that third pitch. That was at 11.6% last year, but still 55% four-seam, 29% slider. So that he is who he is. And we're talking first year as a starter, he puts a 1.9. Like, Braves fans, tell me, did they change something with him? Because I'm looking, the pitch mix is the same, but the results are obviously drastically different in his first year as a starter. I mean, you got to give credit to them for both of those signings or trades. Were incredible. You get Chris Sale, he wins you the Triple Crown. You take a reliever that's kind of like bounced all over the place, and his age 30 season, he gives you a sub-2. Like, that's you right here. That's a tip of the cap, baby.
Right?
What else can you say about that?
Other teams don't really do that. I don't know. I guess all of that is through, Charlie Morton, 4.19, 165 starts. He was the salt man, Charlie Morton. Like I said with Max Fried, I don't know. It feels like the offense is going to bounce back in some degree. Whether you just want to say health. Like, if Ronald Acuna comes back on June 1st, that should be an upgrade for the entire offense. It's weird that the pitching feels like the question, but this is a team that came off having arguably the best pitching in baseball last year, but none of it felt that way. But again, there's an overlying last year felt a little cursed for the Braves. That's just plain and you lost the Cy Young favorite and the MVP favorite, and maybe that's just where the analysis should chill out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that can stop this team, and which should, like, I guess you can technically say it kind of did last year, is injuries. That's it. They don't have a ton of, like, at least in my mind, I don't think they have a ton of, like, organizational depth. Like, this is the team. Like, the Major League roster, this is the team. So the injuries are when you're an organization like that, injuries are even harder on your season because you don't have people that come up and be stopgaps, really. So that is kind of the analysis. If this team is healthy, they're going to be very, very good. If this team continues to deal with injuries, then they win 89 games and they're still really good. I don't know, man. Like,
right.
Good roster.
No, I guess I have noted guys who had big boy years last year. I mentioned a chance at regression. Marcell Ozuna was incredible last year.
Yeah.
MVP 4 out of the DH spot from the Big Bear. So that could be tough to run back. But again, he looks as comfortable as a human can be DHing. I mean, my God.
Yeah. Devers, talk to him, please.
Yeah.
And then figured it out.
And then you expect so much more elsewhere in the lineup. Trev, I think the only thing you mentioned, injuries could stop them. And sure, we could say that for every team. Trev, this is the 5th ranked team by our people. And we love the people. We are the people. We haven't done the New York Mets yet. We haven't done the Philadelphia Phillies yet. There's 4 teams left. So the NL East, like, we laughed when we did our Nationals TPP because we're like, all this young talent. And we're like, oh, okay. it's a step below maybe where we thought. These 3 teams in the NL East, I think it is the cop-out answer for either of us to say injuries are going to decide it because they probably could and they probably will. But let's say if it doesn't, I'll Chris Rose you. Are the Braves the 3rd best team in the NL East?
No, I mean, look, the Phillies have been good for a long time, too. 2022, they won 101 games, the Atlanta Braves did. 2023, they won 104 games. Like, that's with the Phillies in their division. I understand the Mets have gotten better, but I think the Marlins have gotten worse. No, like, I'm not worried about the division. Like, they're on par with these teams. Like, this isn't like something like, hey, there's those 2 teams who are ranked above them and our fan rankings are so much better than them they have to go through. And like, that's not the case at all here. Like, on paper, with everyone healthy, I think the Braves have a better roster than both the Phillies and the Mets overall. I do. But they are, dealing with a few injuries to start the year. But I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah, I guess people wonder this. Where do I truly think the Braves stack up? I think I'm with you. If we were doing a baseball simulation and injuries off, I think I lean Braves.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess it's really interesting. The Mets, obviously, they brought in a huge new piece, and their organization feels like it made a turn, and they went further than the other teams last year. And the Phillies, what they have built. God, I'm excited to see the over-under, and it's brought to you by DraftKings. And my God, Hoops fans, the most exciting month in college basketball is here. With underdogs ready to fight their way to the top and established teams defending their titles, it's time to lock in your picks with our partners at DraftKings. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you use code TALKIN. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use code TALKIN. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Code TALKIN only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. What is it?
This is the biggest over-under we got, Coach.
Really?
So far,
okay.
Yeah. DraftKings has the over-under win total at 93 and
Holy. That's easily the biggest one. I think before that, was it the Orioles at 87.5?
I think there was somebody above the Orioles as well, but yeah, we have not approached the 90s yet. So 93.5. Again, they won 89 games last year. Before that, it was 104 and 101. Same roster minus we said they lost some people. They brought people in too. Like, still a very, very good roster. But dang, a little
That's a big number.
sticker shock. Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah.
You look at the price tag, something you're like, okay, hold on one second.
You haven't felt that in a long time, have you?
No, I do.
I know
places
you
I'm
do.
going right now.
I know you do. I know you do.
The places I'm at right now, there was a ski jacket for $2,000. Sounds like, what is going on here?
That's good. That's the pool man. That's still
You
inside
don't
you.
need that.
You don't need that.
If you're buying a $2,000 ski jacket, don't. Okay, I'll send you some links.
A little life advice from Talking Baseball today.
93.5 though. That means at the very least you're expecting them to finish second in the NL East, right?
I mean,
Because the third place team in the NL East finished with 94 wins. I don't know.
95 could easily win the division, right? Depending how the other teams look. I mean, you're looking at a firmly in the playoffs, and you've either won the division or you finish second place to a great regular season team.
This one's difficult for me, Pop. I like this team a lot, but that's a big number. And again, my fault, but I need to start taking some unders here. So I'm thinking.
I have a little sticker shock too. I thought
I'm going ahead and looking at the Mets over under. I don't know if that's cheating or not.
Thing. I just did the same exact
thing. Did you just say
thing?
Okay.
Yeah. I think I have my pick.
I don't, Coach.
It's a good line.
It is a good line.
Do the push. 93.5.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1.
Over.
Under. Okay.
I'm
going slightly under, Coach. I'm going. They get into the 90s. 94 is a lot in that division, I think.
I was trying once I got sticker shocked because I thought we were going to see maybe like all these numbers have been pretty low. Not pretty low. They've been over-unders. I thought I was going to see an 89, maybe 91. 93.5 is a big number. I guess for me, it's everything you said. I mean, 89 games last year, lost a lot to injuries. The one-run thing, that can change easily. The not scoring at home, that's just bizarre. That in my head, I was also doing could Sale and Reynaldo Lopez take a step back? Absolutely. Like you can make arguments.
It's hard to get better
for both. Right. Like those guys, they kind of Cy Young winner and toe-to-toe with Skeens. I guess for me, I do believe in the pitching, and there's so much potential on that offensive side of the ball.
95 games won the division last year. The Phillies won 95 games. They won the division. Braves and Mets both were at 89. So if I'm thinking that, it's just... Yeah, I got him at 90, 91, 92 wins.
It's a good line. I'm regretting it a little bit, but I believe in Atlanta this year. Braves fans, NL East fans, baseball fans, let us know what we got right. I know you wanted me to talk about Drew Hackenberg maybe getting called up at the end of this year. Let us know. As always, we will be back with your fourth-ranked team in baseball.
Hey, screw you, blooper.